Welcome back to the channel. This is the Casuals. I'm Jin.
And I'm Saki.
Today's episode is another power wash simulator, and this time we're doing, a house in the woods, totally not suspicious at all, with no other surrounding houses and a missing poster over there. But we don't talk about that. And so, while we do this, there is a subject that I want to talk about, and that is luck, right? And in the sense that of luck is like, do you believe in the concept of luck?
I'm sure there's. Yeah, I think I would.
Okay. And so I guess before we get into further to that, what is the definition of luck to you?
Oh, jeez. I didn't know there was gonna be a quiz.
It's not. It doesn't have to be right or wrong. It's more like, what is your interpretation of like luck?
A series of like fortunate events, because you know how there's a series of unfortunate events.
Mm-hmm.
Just like, I don't know, playing your cards right, I guess, ish, in a certain way.
Hmm. So, okay. Let me bring up the Webster's Dictionary of luck. And, so the definition of luck is success or failure apparently brought by chance rather than through one's own action. That
Okay.
is the definition of luck. And so today I ask, right, in comparison to your definition or interpretation of luck, does it line up to your interpretation of luck?
Yeah, the chance part, yes.
Okay. So you, as you said before, you do believe that there is such thing as luck, in your life and in the existence of the world, right?
Yeah, I would say so.
So at what point does luck, or rather, do you consider luck as a true factor in life? I guess, right? When you're doing something or whenever an event happens and someone says, wow, he got unlucky, right? Do you truly believe, like, oh yeah, that was just terrible luck?
I'd like to think so. Just, it keeps things interesting. Because there's always a reason behind everything.
Mm-hmm.
But I don't know, sometimes you're just like, yeah, that was just unlucky for that person, or oh, they got really lucky. Like, it just keeps things interesting to me. So,
Mm.
so I don't have to think of, oh yeah, that happened because this, and this. Or that didn't happen because, these reasons.
Gotcha. It's because to me, right, luck is a strange existence, right? Um, where we kind of live in a world where things can be defined by equations or theorems or repeatable patterns, right?
Mm-hmm.
But luck is one of those things where it's truly like you can't determine that, right? In the sense of the way we go about it, where like you flip a coin 20 times, right? And somehow magically it comes out 20 times as heads. Statistically, you're doing a 50-50 per toss, right? So it's a 50% chance of getting heads or tails, and you manage to land on heads every single time, which kind of defies all expectations in terms of probability.
Mm-hmm.
But most people just simply say, "Oh, you either had really good luck or bad luck, depending on what the evaluation of heads being." So like, in this sense, like, can you really just chalk it up to like, hey, he flipped coins 20 times, got heads on all 20 flips. This is simply just going to be about luck at this point. Nothing you can do to predict that outcome. Um, Simply just hope that, you know, it lands on the one that you want. Rather, let's say you want tails and you got unfortunate that it only landed on heads, and that is truly up to luck. Or, you know, do you believe that there are some factors that the person who is flipping the coin can consider in order to make the correct determinant of what the outcome would be per flip?
Um, yeah, I was gonna say there can be like reason or I don't know data that can be used. Like this person puts the coin on there, however they flip it, like with their fingers.
Mm-hmm.
They always put it tails down with this amount of power, so it only flips this certain amount of time. You could go like really deep into it, but
Mm-hmm.
who really wants to do that?
Those who want to
who
win.
who really cares that much to win that? It's
Mm-hmm.
that's I would say that's why people would just be like, "Ah, he just got lucky," or "He got unlucky," just because. Yes, you can go that deep into it, like, oh, he puts all the variables, are the same, and you get the same outcome.
Mm.
You can do that. That's no fun. That's kind of boring. Like lottery. Let's say like the lottery, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like I'm sure there's if no one's figured it out, like a pattern or something with the numbers or something. But like, who has time and who actually cares that much to do that? I would just say, unlucky. Get another ticket or something. Or
I think there are people who genuinely do try calculating it,
I would not doubt that.
but they're usually unsuccessful anyways. And I don't know to what extent is, or if there were any real winners who did that extreme calculation to try and beat what would be considered a huge luck factor, right?
Mm-hmm.
Because here's the thing too, right? Um, let's just say you're playing a game with a friend or someone. You make a bet with someone that would theoretically look like luck, right? That is, it's truly determined by luck in like the game's nature. So let's just say you are trying to determine how many birds would fly past you in a given times period, right?
Okay.
Standing in your specific spot. And one would think like you would just have to throw out a number, random number and get lucky, right?
Mm-hmm.
But could you say that in this case it was truly like, well, I guess like, what if that game happens, right? But someone throws out a number by like just pure like no hesitation, like let's just like 5 birds, whatever, and another person also says 5 birds, but he thinks about it a lot more, and turns out 5 birds do come past within that time period, and they're both correct. However, the person who took a longer time to answer took all the variables of the geological graphic or geographic location of where they're situated, the types of bird that are around, habits of the bird known to be recorded around this area, and then accurately predicted that there would be 5 birds based on the knowledge and data that he had, he knows in his mind, compared to the person who just randomly threw out. Would you say at this point the person who simply threw out that number, or would you say luck is truly a factor in this case when there's 2 different people doing 2 different methods of like, one is just purely by like, I just throw this number out, Hail Mary this, and he got lucky in that sense, compared to a person who calculated everything and got it accurate?
I mean, technically, that's just. I don't even know if that's considered an educated guess, but it is definitely a guess. I mean, like you're saying, they didn't calculate or anything. They just
threw out a number. They didn't think about it. It was like 5. Within like a half second. versus a
I
person who
would.
took like maybe 3 minutes to think about it and then said 5 because he calculated everything.
Uh, I would. Yeah, I'd still consider just keep it simple. Just like, oh, he got lucky.
Mm. So that's the interesting thing, right? Because two people came to the same conclusion through different ways. One, you could say, is like where most people would agree, right? Without any hesitation that, yeah, this guy got lucky, like straight up.
Mm-hmm.
Because he just threw out a number without thinking. The other man's like, oh, this is a calculated guess. But when you put it in like, from a top-down view, I guess is the way you could put it, right? Where you're simply observing that two people made the same number or like the same guess, um, with two different methods. Like, it's kind of interesting because then, like, do you say like, how do you say this? Is luck actually part of the equation, like in the overall grand scheme of things? It's like I don't know how to describe it. Like, if you were to look at it from a pure like, I guess like you're building blocks, right? Is luck one of those building blocks in terms of like this scenario that played out as a
For
third
that
party
one
like
guy,
perspective?
I guess from that one guy, yeah, because he didn't think about it at all. He just Hail Mary threw a number out. So
Yeah, it's hard to describe it because the way I've seen it is like there's a beginning, middle, and end, right? Of like let's just say building block scenarios.
mm-hmm.
And if you were to have the two people as part of the building blocks of the beginning, the guess that they made is another building block, um, and then how they went about it as another building block, and then the results as another building block, and it makes a whole complete picture, right? Like a complete figure set, whatever.
Okay.
To me, it's like, can you take out the luck aspect, the luck block, right? Where like it's like, oh, this man, had luck on his side to, guess the right thing, and like say like you still get the same results. Would you say that you would get the same? Or to me, it's like, does it? Like I feel like the complete figure would still exist without that luck block, because the results wouldn't change.
True. I mean, yeah, I guess you got a point there.
But if we're purely talking about like that one person's perspective, or that just isolating it to that one person, then yeah, definitely luck is like the biggest picture there, right? Because it's isolated to him.
Right. It's just to that one person.
Yeah. Like I know it could be like someone who actually truly has studied this kind of stuff. Like some people genuinely do question like, is there like truly such thing as luck in life, right? I'm sure they could bring out like they could just pull out like stuff and be like, no, like what you're bringing up is completely stupid. But like that's how I see it in a weird way, and I don't know how to describe it in terms of like trying to consider like maybe luck is not a thing.
I could see that, but I think I don't know, for a simple-minded person like me,
Uh-huh.
I just I don't know, I like to believe in luck just because it makes things a little more fun and interesting than rather than there's no such thing as luck because you could calculate pretty much everything that you're gonna throw at me.
Mm-hmm.
There's like a reason for it.
Yeah. That's another thing I thought about too, right? So maybe like, because in the end, I think it's hard to deny the fact that there is a possibility of calculating every single outcome, or possibility of calculating or accurately knowing what will happen next, as a result of actions being made, right? So like I guess in my not conclusion, but like the way I think I came to come around to accept it is like, objectively, I think you can always bring up a factor that it could be calculated in order to like say like, this is the reason why this turned out this way. If this person had considered it, it would have like he would have known and reacted differently, right? But at the same time, it's like no one, especially with like a coin flip, right? No ordinary person has the, I think, capacity or time to calculate what the result will be in 99.99% of cases. So in the end, it's a lot easier just to be like, I hope I'm lucky, you know?
Yeah.
So luck, in a way, does exist, you know?
It does and doesn't, I guess.
Yeah. It's such a weird thing, and like when I kept on thinking about it. It exists because of the way our, society works, I guess, right? I don't know if it's society or if it's the way our minds work or the way we function, or our inability to function at a higher level. But at the same time, it also theoretically shouldn't exist.
Right. You're hurting my brain. But yes.
Because here's another thing, right? This is common for like games, right? Especially with like computer games when you're having a gambling mechanic in it. Like, is it truly luck that you're winning these like, possibilities, or is it just predetermined by a machine? And at that point, is that luck? Because then in the end, what's driving that, like, that, let's say, gambling mechanic, right? It's numbers being inputted into a computer, generating a quote-unquote random output. But how random is it to the point where you have to, it's like, oh, like it is truly like a variable that is unknown because it's gonna be random every time. Like, do you think like the possibility of that there being a hidden influence or a hidden number existing that influences each time you try and gamble on a, let's say, computer game, because there's a machine computing that result to you? It's not as if you have direct quote unquote influence like flipping a coin in your hand does.
Sorry, my brain just that was a very interesting question. For computers at least, yeah, there's like an algorithm thing, right?
But some people argue that it is still truly random because what the programmers are telling it is to truly like what the programmers are telling it is truly like make a random output, right? But then like if you think about it, how random is that randomness, right? Because in the end, it's still a machine, calculating the output to give you. It's not like some non-influence like machine that flips coins. Or not even that. It's not a human flipping a coin where you truly it's hard to stay consistent, right? A machine could stay easily consistent.
Right.
And you can't make a machine that's inconsistent, because in the end there's there's behaviors programmed into its system. Even if it's like clunky, it still has a directive given to it.
Right. At least for me, for like computer type luck, I don't think is luck, because it's just programmed in there. You know what I'm? So I don't think any computer type thing is luck. That's all just programmable stuff.
So, like, I thought about that too, and I kind of came to that, like, not conclusion too, but like more like kind of like the thought, like maybe it really isn't luck, right? So as it goes back to what I said before, I think luck is generally subjective. And like in terms of if you try objectifying it, luck doesn't exist.
Yeah, that sounds about right, actually.
And then there's another thing, right, where it's like, let's say some dude is walking out, in the city of New York or whatever, right? And then he gets hit by debris falling from a skyscraper, and then it hits his head and he goes unconscious, dies or whatever, right? I think most people's reactions would be, well, he got unlucky.
Yeah, because that's a very rare like thing to happen. So yeah, but I'd say most people would probably think that's just unlucky.
Right? And so what happens if you bring other factors in rather than, what I just told you, right? Just that simple story of what happened.
Mm-hmm.
What if it was simply, what if, other factors become, like, other parts of the story start, like, popping up, as such as, like, this man knew there was construction going on in the area, but he still decided to go on this route anyways, Is that at this point luck? Or unlucky that he did it? Or is it not, or does luck not exist because he could have made the conscionable choice not to go that way and completely avoid that scenario altogether?
I'd say both. Yes, he could have avoided it, but since he chose to go that way, there's still more factors. You have to add in more stuff that since he chose to go that way, what are the odds of the thing falling on him in that moment?
Mm-hmm.
Off of, I don't know, a lift or something.
Yeah.
Crane, like broke and dropped it. Then you have to add in more stuff, I think, for that.
Yeah. So that's what I was actually going to ask too. Like, what if there's more factors that come into, like, I just added more context to that, right?
Mm-hmm.
And then what if I add another additional context? Let's say that it's been known that the construction company that is handling that work has had multiple safety hazards, incidents in the past, right? And that is clearly shown on the news or report that he, sees every day. Like, and it's not like I'm not gonna keep on asking you, like, putting in more factors, but like, at what point does, like, how many factors that come into play where it's like he should have been more knowledgeable about this, turns it from like a situation of like, yeah, he kind of knew, but he was still unlucky, to like, he should have not gone there because there was a high probability chance, like, and there should have been like no luck factor involved type deal.
I think that just depends on the person, like, thinking about it too. Because for me, like, I don't know, it wouldn't take very long for me to be like, okay, like, that was just a dumb idea kind of thing.
Yeah.
But for other people, it could have been like, oh, I don't know, they walked in, they didn't do any research, or like look at the news or something that this company sucks or whatever at safety, apparently.
Mm-hmm.
And they're like, okay, well, it could have been like the one time, or like they could have been like, oh, maybe this one time, like, maybe they could get something right, and they still took a chance,
Mm-hmm.
Like, it could keep going on forever for some people, like, I guess until they're satisfied with their answer.
Mm-hmm.
So I would say it depends on the person, but I'd say for most people it'd be like, why did you do that in the first place?
Yeah. Yeah, it's very, I don't know, like, it's not like I'm like super existential about it, but like the concept of luck is kind of strange in a way. Not that like it's not like I don't believe it. I frequently, think to myself, oh, I got bad luck,
Mm-hmm.
But like when I really think about it, it's like, is luck simply just a concept made up? Or when I thought about it, it's like, I was thinking at first, like, is luck a concept made up by people, right? To explain the shortcomings of our inability to predict or calculate certain outcomes? Or is it a legitimate factor into, like, our lives, right? And then, it goes back to the point where I think, like I said before, like, I think it's subjective. Luck is subjective, but, like, objectively, I'm not sure if luck actually really exists at all.
Yeah, that I can see your point as well.
It's such a strange thing. It's just my brain, like, knows that, like, to me, luck as a concept is still very real.
Mm-hmm.
But to think about it in the way that, like, you know, hey, is it objectively real? It's like, I don't know about that, you know?
Yeah, it kind of just makes you second guess sometimes.
Yeah.
Yeesh.
I guess here's another thing, too, like, somewhat what if it comes out of, right? Is like, chess, right? Chess.
Uh-huh.
There are, I forget how many moves. It's some insane amount of possible moves in a game of chess that could happen, right?
Right.
But in the end, right? I think most people can agree there is no such thing as luck in chess.
No. There can't be luck in chess. It's all like precise moves and stuff. Like you're doing the moves.
Mm-hmm.
Like you're creating the outcome. It can't be luck.
Yeah. So when you say, like, let's just say, like, for some reason, let's just say someone who is truly, like, dumb, right? Dumber than bricks, goes against, like, the number one chess player in the world, and somehow that person who's dumb as brick wins against the number one person chess player in the world. And this isn't like the number one chess player, like, giving him the win for fun or something. Like, they were both seriously playing. Do you think people would say, or do you think it'd be like, one of the first reactions would be like, oh god, he got, like, the dumbest brick got, lucky. The fact that he actually was able to win.
I would say that's probably most people's answer. He got lucky.
Yeah. But in
Maybe
your personal opinion, do you think that's luck, or do you think it's just more like this, like the concept of, like, hey, this number one player screwed up, and that's, like, not luck. That's, like, his hindsight.
I'd say the person screwed up. Maybe, yeah, he might be number one, but it's still, he's a person. Persons make mistakes, and that mistake in this situation cost him the game.
Yeah. And so would you say that the person who was dumb as bricks won was lucky that that person made that mistake? Because by all means, I don't think I think 99.99% of all people would reasonably believe that the person who's the number one chess player in the world would win against a person who's dumb as bricks.
You'd hope so, at least.
So I guess, like, now it's like the question of, was he lucky because of the fact that that person who shouldn't have messed up?
One, I hate you for this.
See what I mean by, like, this is such a, like, I just don't know how to think about it.
You're making my mind want to quit its job. My brain. My brain's like, dude, I clocked out at 5, man. Why am I working overtime?
I'm sorry to torture you with my conundrums of life that I think about constantly.
I know, but they're good. It's like, I'm thinking about them too, and I'm like, huh, is that luck? For that, it might be for that person.
Yeah.
But for the number one player, he's probably like, damn, I just made the wrong move.
Yeah. But
And
when you think about it in the context of the other guy, when you think about it in the context of the other guy, he got lucky because the person who shouldn't have messed up.
Yeah.
So all that thinking, I think, again, like, this is the 4th time I said it, like, I'm truly, like, starting to believe, like, luck is subjective, but objectively, I don't think luck exists.
Yeah, I think I do agree with you, but I like to just think it exists because it makes things interesting.
Yeah.
But, like, truthfully, yeah, I don't think it would, like, truly, really exist.
And it's such a strange concept, right? Because luck isn't tangible. You can't see it. You can't feel it. Dude, it's literally just a concept.
Mm-hmm.
So there's no way you can test for it, right?
No, no, I don't think you can test for luck.
But it's so ingrained in like just humans in general, right? Like it's super common to hear like, oh, he had bad luck, you know, or it's like, you know, these beliefs that like, you know, these things bring you good luck, you know, like charms.
Right, yeah.
But it's one of those things that just has never existed as a tangible object or thing in the entirety of the history of like the world.
Yeah. It's just embedded in us, I guess.
Welcome to thoughts that you would think a person that smokes weed comes up with, but instead it's just someone who doesn't. So maybe I'm just crazy.
Let's go with that.
How'd you like your brain being broken for a little bit?
It's still broken. I don't know if it can mentally recover from this.
Just forever you'll be thinking about that, huh?
Yeah.
You just wake up in your sleep, from your sleep, you're like, oh, what is luck?
I'm gonna have nightmares now.
Do you think there's someone out there desperately trying to prove mathematically or in some way or form that there is truly the existence of luck? And he's just going absolutely insane from it.
You know, I would not be surprised if there was one person going crazy trying to prove it. So many people on this earth, I would not doubt that someone's tried or currently trying.
Yeah. Because I remember before this episode started, I even like told you like what we were gonna talk about. I was like, we're gonna talk about luck, and you're just like, huh?
Yeah.
You didn't think it would turn into this, huh?
No, I thought you were gonna be like some like just dumb questions like, did this person get lucky that they got struck by lightning or something? Like, dumb. I didn't think we were gonna go this deep into it.
I fooled you.
Fooled me once, shame on you.
I'll fool you again one day.
Oh, I would not doubt it.
But yeah, it was just one of those things I like thought about recently. I was just like, what is the existence of luck as I drink my Diet Coke? Sorry, I don't drink coffee, so I can't look scholastic, you know.
I need like a Mountain Dew or something. I've been through a little bit of trauma today.
No wonder why people fear people who major in philosophy.
Dude, I took philosophy. You just question everything.
You just start questioning, what
You
am
literally
I?
start questioning everything. It sucked. I tried to drop the class.
You were like, I'm not gonna make it through the semester. I'm gonna go insane.
Yeah, literally like the first week I was like questioning my existence. Am I actually real? Am I in a simulation? Like, it was crazy, yeah.
I guess I will touch upon that just very little, right? I'm not gonna go too deep into it, right? Because the question is like, I think that's like one of the most questions. Like, are we real, right? Is what we're experiencing real and authentic to our life, or are we simply in a simulation? If so, how do we prove it? And I think most people came to the conclusion, or I think the funny answer was, if we're in a simulation, we're in a pretty damn good simulation. And then I think someone else brought up, like, there's no way we're in a simulation because ain't no way someone would make a simulation with this many, like, quote unquote, like, you know, the subjects or us people, right? Fucking up this badly so many times over and over again.
I mean, they got a point.
And then, you know, the counterpoint, which is, you know, endless philosophical questioning, is like, what if that was intentional?
All right, so we're gonna end the episode here.
Because yeah, philosophy is basically question upon question upon question upon question. You'll never get to the end.
Yep.
I mean, you can get to the end, but it's more like because it's so subjective at the same time, you can't really come to a conclusion that like is considered objective.
Mm-hmm.
So it's gonna be rough.
Yeah. That's why I did not major in philosophy. I would probably hate myself if I did.
Mm-hmm. So another random topic, right? This will probably be one of the last topics before, you know, we end this episode because it has been a while. Can you conceptualize things in your head?
Just like,
Like, let's say I tell you to imagine an apple. Can you do that?
yeah.
So you can picture like an apple. Like you can picture vividly that you're holding an apple in your mind.
Yeah. I
Okay.
would say so.
Apparently, this is still like, you know, unconfirmed because again, you can't really study this. It's impossible. Unless you're able to project what the mind is, you know, thinking or seeing. But apparently, there are some people who genuinely can't imagine that at all.
Yeah, I wouldn't doubt that. That's possibility for everything, right?
Yeah. And so, you know, that's just one part of it, right? The second part is, so you could, so you yourself confirm that you can imagine an apple in your hand, you know, vividly. The next step is can you interact with that imagery, right? In real time where like, let's say I say you pick up the apple from the table. Can you imagine that happening in real time?
Yeah.
Okay, so now the step further is, can you imagine the surroundings of, let's say, your house, right? And you moving from one room to another to go pick up that apple with high level of detail of what's in your house, like all the trinkets, all the, you know, positions of the table, chairs, and everything, and other objects in the room, vividly.
Have you met me? I'm super OCD, so yeah.
Cool.
I can tell you where the pen was placed and where it was moved.
Awesome. And so the next step is going beyond that, right? Well, it's gonna go extremely beyond that now. Just because I just want to get to like that main point, right? But also it's gonna be too much build up to that point. So you know how we have Earth, right, in our solar system?
Yes.
You can imagine we're like, you know, Earth floating around in space, right?
Mm-hmm.
So can you imagine our whole solar system, you know, all the planets, the, you know, the meteor rings surrounding, you know, our like planetary systems as a concept as a whole?
I mean, if I guess I had to think about it.
Cool. So now can you conceptualize that as it being possibly endless, boundless space, but at the same time restricted because we are in a galaxy, which is the Milky Way galaxy, and there being another galaxy right next to our galaxy, the Milky Way galaxy, of the same type of solar system existing.
Oh, I'm sure there's, yeah, other galaxies and solar systems out there, yeah.
Yeah. So, like, are you able to imagine that? Like,
If I
scale.
had to.
If you had
Like,
to, right?
Like, yeah, if I had to, I can.
Okay, so now we're going to scale a little bit more. So imagine that, right, where it's two galaxies. Now there's hundreds of galaxies with a solar system inside it, with planets, you know. We don't know if they have life or not, but let's just say there are planets in there with variety. Hundreds of galaxies, even thousand millions, contained in a big galaxy that is also surrounded by other galaxies. Hundreds of millions of galaxies contained in another huge galaxy. So it just keeps on infinitely repeating itself.
I guess, but I don't know what. my brain's like telling me like maybe it could stop
Mm-hmm.
at some point, right?
Yeah.
I think. I mean, I guess I could think about it, but like, yeah, my brain is probably gonna be like, does it stop though?
Hmm. But it wouldn't be like too much of a struggle to think about that as a just a concept, like imagining it.
No, not just to think about it.
Okay, yeah. Apparently, some people do have trouble thinking about that. Like they just can't fathom our galaxy being next to another galaxy, and then beyond that, those we have a cluster of galaxies contained in a space that may be where we're in another bigger part of a galaxy.
Hmm.
It just doesn't. They cannot comprehend it.
Interesting. I mean, yeah, I guess. It's definitely interesting. I thought, that wouldn't be too crazy of a thing, but I don't know. People are just different, I guess, from
Yeah.
us.
I just thought it was interesting because I thought everyone was able to do that until I found out they weren't. I was like, what do you mean you can't imagine that? It was just a strange realization,
Mm-hmm.
that I remember. And then finding out that apparently, well, what they're calling it right now is aphantasia, where you can't imagine objects. Like, you can't imagine anything. There's no, like, imagery in your mind. Is apparently a thing. We don't know if it's truly a thing or if people are just visualizing or remembering an object a very different way than what we would think is a way of imagining us taking an apple from a table,
Hmm.
And in the end, I don't think we'll ever really know unless technology gets so advanced that they're able to project what's on the mind.
Real, yeah. It's just gonna be a mystery.
It will be. But yeah, that was just some thoughts I had recently in the past, couple days, and I wanted to talk about it and see how you thought about them. Apparently, luck just broke your brain, so I don't think I'll ever mention it again. I may bring it up to other people to see how they react, and if I die, you'll know that they went insane and just stabbed me.
You sent them to the mental hospital.
Yeah, I sent them to the mental hospital and I paid for it with my life. But yeah, that is my, I guess food for thought. I guess. I don't really know if it's food for thought because it's not simple, but it's something to think about. And for those of you who've gotten this far without your minds breaking, congratulations. You had to listen to my, I guess, mind-breaking thoughts. But let us know what you think, and if luck is truly something that exists objectively in the world, or if it is subjective, or if it's just a mysterious force in life that we can never explain, and it will always exist. Who knows? But for now, we'll end the episode here. So I'm Jin.
And I'm Saki.
And this is The Casuals, and we'll see you next time. Bye-bye.